Hello everybody, my name is Dave, and today I'd like to talk to you about universal web design and the Wave accessibility tool. So first I'd like to draw your attention briefly to a Wikipedia page on the general topic of universal design. Befitting the subject of the page, you will find that this article is very broad in its definition of universal design. But by using your imagination a bit, I think you will find it quite easy to see how these principles of design can be applied to the World Wide Web. So there's a couple of important ideas in this article, including that of barrier-free design. An illustrative example given is the dropped curb or sidewalk ramp design. A rather trivial detail it may seem to those who are not wheelchair bound, but for those who are, it makes a world of difference. So to generalize this idea to web design, I think we can say that we should aim to always design fully inclusively so that disabled users are more easily able to use our websites and applications, but also in a way that is reminiscent of the sidewalk ramp designs, in that accessibility doesn't have to be something necessarily that completely alters the design so totally as to render the final product an inconvenience to supposedly non-disabled users. So inclusivity is the key here. So this is the website that goes over a lot of web accessibility guidelines. This article in particular is very interesting. I think it's also important, if you look at this page, to consider it helpful to view the process of universal design as not merely catering also to disabled users, but as a process that attempts to make itself useful to as diverse a group of potential users as possible, whether or not potential users consider themselves or are considered by others to be disabled. The actual definition of disability is such a broad topic that I think for any one of us to individually try and set our own parameters for what a disabled user might look like, that would be foolish. I mean, there are a myriad of different things that could be considered a disability. There is auditory disabilities, cognitive learning, neurological, physical, speech, visual. All of these impact the process of surfing the web in unique and different ways. The list goes on. And you can go and look at examples of just the way that they use the web. That's a whole nother list, and not an exhaustive one, but just this list is illustrative of the vast number of different tools that disabled users have for simply surfing the web. I mean, do you ever find it quirky trying to get your website to display consistently just across Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and maybe Internet Explorer? Because, I mean, there's browsers designed for just certain types of disabled users. So it's a wide world out there on the web. And as a side note, some of these features, as I was discussing earlier, aren't just used by disabled users, like someone in a wheelchair. Sometimes putatively non-disabled users also use these features simply because they like them. I, for example, prefer to always watch things with English subtitles on, even though English is my native language and I am not hearing impaired. I don't know why, but somehow it appeals to my analytical mind. Now, not everyone likes subtitles, and that's why it's a toggleable option with a lot of things. But let's say you're at a movie theater and you're disabled, or you simply prefer captions. Well, it would be irritating to a number of others in the theater if they turned captions on the big screen, right? That's actually where an Airbnb host that my wife and I stayed with in Cork, Ireland, he had a brilliant idea about this. What if they invented polarized glasses, not unlike 3D glasses, that would allow viewers who wanted to see captions, which would be invisible to everyone else? See, now that's a perfect example of an idea that smacks of the ideals of universal design. So I just wanted to say, these features are everywhere. This site near the bottom, here, Page Maps, discusses a tool called Page Maps, where on some websites it'll display a small image of the entire web page with an indicator highlighting the portion within the web page that is being currently viewed. You know what? I use Sublime Text for coding, and Sublime Text has this as a toggleable function, and I love it. So these technologies are everywhere. So I suppose, as is often the case in web design and programming, instead of each of us trying to develop our own little hodgepodge system or version of trying to live up to this development ideal, we should look to some sort of industry standard tool set. And that's where this WAVE tool comes in. WAVE stands for Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool. Greatest part, don't even have to send your website files to a web server somewhere. You can go ahead and install it as a Chrome or Firefox extension, and in that way have total private evaluation of your website files. So yeah, I can show you here how it works. So this is a website that I made for Web Development 3, which, if I'm being honest, I did not make with web accessibility specifically in mind. But anyway, so I have this Wave tool installed. So you go to this website, and it'll show up here in the corner. I have a couple other Chrome extension tools that I like to use, but this is the Wave one, so you can click on it, and this pops up over here. And so it gives you, errors, alerts, features, and things like that. So I don't have any errors necessarily, but one thing that it will tell me, if you click on here, it'll show you, skipped heading level. So what that means is, and they kind of give you an indication here, I jumped from an H1 to an H3, okay, which, could be confusing depending on the type of user, if they're using certain types of assistive technologies, okay? So that's an example of, and if you want, hey, well, you know what, let's go to this website, this Web Accessibility Initiative. You can even probably use it on this website. Oops. Maybe it won't work on this website. I wonder if it'll work on Wikipedia. Yeah. Oh, I think we got it going. It's just got a lot to analyze, I guess. So it's just taking a second. Oh, see, even a site like Wikipedia has a couple of errors, right? So you can see errors. There's an empty button, and you can see, it has, the button is empty, has no value text. When navigating to a button, descriptive text must be presented to screen reader users to indicate the function of the button. All right, so you can see how that could be a problem. But you also have to look at the scope of this, okay? Wikipedia is a huge, complex website. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's a volunteer basis, so I'm going to go ahead and say the fact that it's a volunteer, nonprofit website, and the large scale that it is, the fact that it only has 4 errors on this page, I'm going to say that's honestly not that bad. And you could even go in, and if you knew more about this or you investigated, maybe there's something else. Let's see, let's try a different site. Maybe, I wonder what the Wave Accessibility site has to say about its own website. Yeah, 0 errors. It has a couple features too. It gives alt text for an image, right, which you should probably be familiar with by now. Most image tags that you include on a page should have alternate text in case the image is not displayable. So you get the idea. Basically, you just want to cater to a wide variety of users. You don't necessarily have to think of it as, okay, I just have to make sure that my website is going to be able to be used by a blind person using a screen reader. There's a wide variety of tools and features that you can build into a website to make it just more accessible in general to people. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day.